I was with my sister, and we were in the National Park of Alaska. What brought us here was wanting to take photos of nature with our camera that we recently purchased. I packed up some food and all the camera accessories on the coffee table while my sister packed all kinds of other stuff in her backpacks because we were also going camping. We loaded up the car and drove off. Me and my sister was out taking photos earlier in the day, and we came across this spooky looking scarecrow. It was out here in the forest just by itself. Who would put a scarecrow out here in the woods? I took a photo of it, and as I looked at the preview screen on the camera, the scarecrow looked like it posed a little different than the photo that I had taken. My sister told me to come on and forget about it. She was focused like that. We continued on our way, taking more photos of the park. We decided to set up camp and call it a night. I was cycling through the photos that I took throughout the day and noticed the photo I had taken of the scarecrow. I know this is going to sound bizarre, but the photo I took looked messed up now. My sister was sleeping, and I didn't want to wake her, but I needed her to see this. I shook her a couple of times, but she was in a deep sleep. I looked back over at the camera, and the photo was gone. I started to freak out, as I know what I had just saw, and then it was gone. I put the camera away, crawled into my sleeping bag, and just laid there, listening to all the sounds of the forest. I didn't sleep well that night. The next day, I woke up. My sister was gone. I called out to her, but didn't get a response. I rushed out of the tent fast. My heart was racing. I called for her again. I could hear her this time, her voice coming from behind some bushes. She told me to start breaking down the campsite. I calmed myself down and decided to do what she said. I was debating whether or not to tell her about the photo of the scarecrow. My sister came back from behind the bushes after her hike and was helping me break down the camp. I spoke up about the photo and how I tried to show her, but the photo was gone. She looked at me and said, "Did you see if the camera needed a new battery pack?" "Oh no," I replied. She went inside the tent to grab the camera and a new battery pack. It's working just fine now. I felt stupid that I stayed up most of the night because I let my imagination get to me. Needless to say, my sister did not let me forget about my mistake, as she ribbed me about it the entire day. It was afternoon, and we had hiked to the other side of the forest. My sister was reviewing the photos we had taken, and I needed to go because nature was calling. I walked behind some trees and was about to answer the call when I noticed something. 100 yards out was a scarecrow. The thing was dressed like the other one was. I rushed back to my sister to tell her. When I got to her, she looked confused as she was staring at the camera. "What is it?" I said to her. "Nothing," she said, as she shook her head away from the camera. "Wow, you came back quick. Did you even go?" she said. I knew something was up, but I told her, "Yeah, but you should really come see this." I motioned for her to follow me, and we both went to check out the scarecrow. When we got there, I noticed a sign under the feet of the scarecrow. It was hard to make out. The sign was brittle. I could make out the word crow. My sister told me to step away, as she wanted to take several photos of it. I stepped away, and she began to take a lot of photos, as I could hear the shutter on the camera quickly open and close. I knew something was bothering her, as this was the first time she used the camera like that. After she got finished, she told me to come on, let's go. She was walking really fast, and this started to scare me a little. I asked her, would you just tell me what it is? But she just said it was nothing, and to keep up. Hours went by, and it was starting to get dark. We needed to make camp, I told her. She stopped and turned to me and said, I don't want to do that. Let's just see if we can make it back to the car. What for? I asked. She turned away from me and said, I feel if we stay another night here, it may be our last. She did not want to make any eye contact with me, as the only way I could read my sister's emotions were through her eyes. My heart fell in my stomach. Multiple thoughts were racing in my mind. Every type of horror movie I ever watched. She wasted no time after laying that bomb on me and started to move even faster. I began to follow, but started to notice something was following us. I could hear wooden figs snapping as if something was frantically looking for us. I did not stand around to see what it was and took off running to my sister. Night had completely taken over the forest, and we were running as if our lives depended on it. And to be honest, it did. We finally made it back to our car and quickly got in it. My sister scrambled to get it started. The car kicked right on, and we were on our way out of the forest. We had been driving for a little bit, as we had drove about 50 miles in. My sister started to slow down, as there were deer in the middle of the road. They were just lying there. She honked the horn, but they didn't move. What made this encounter weird was in the middle of the road was a crow. It just stood there, with all these deers as our headlights were beaming right at them. The freaky thing was that in his beak was a straw, the same type of straw that was used on that scarecrow. I pointed that out to my sister, and she sat on the horn while moving around them slowly. We cleared the herd and got out of there. I know this may sound crazy, or you may think we were out there smoking weed, but I assure you that was not the case. When me and my sister made it home and came down from the fear and adrenaline, she told me what shook her up so bad that caused her to want to get out of there and not stay another night. It was the photos. She looked at me and said yes, it was. Well, what about them made you fear for our lives? I replied. You know how I was joking about you not putting in a new battery? Yeah. My sister's hand began to shake as she handed me the camera. Her words that she spoke, I cannot explain to this day. The emotion, the impact, and the fear that ran through my nervous system. she said. How does a camera hold all those photos if it doesn't even have an SD card in it? I took the camera from her and powered the camera on. The screen read, "No SD card available." We both looked at the coffee table, where I had hand-packed the camera right before our trip. Lying on that table was the SD card.
Hi there. Thanks for listening. I want to give a shout out to Samantha Robinson for her spooky story and to Chris Esparza for narrating this video. Please like and subscribe to our new channel, Horror Mental. Much love for your support.